right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, marijuana in Missouri. You'll decide whether or not to legalize recreational pot. We break down the amendment on the November ballot.
Drying out and clearing off. Why that process is a bit slower for some of us.
And our top story tonight, a 17-year-old hiker falls to his death in St. Charles County.
I'm really sorry. It's really, really sad the way it turned out, especially since he was so young.
Hiking safety reminders to protect yourself and your family. Tonight, we're still waiting to learn the name of the teenager who died while hiking. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. This happened this afternoon at Klondike Park in St. Charles County. That's right off Highway 94 between Defiance and Augusta. Our Robert Townsend has more details, plus safety tips hikers need to keep in mind.
Shortly after 12:30 Tuesday afternoon, police rushed to the east side of Klondike Park, blocked off the immediate area and the entrance to the boat ramp. The terrible news quickly spread. A 17-year-old boy died after falling during a hike. Investigators say the victim was with a second teen at the time.
It's really sad and scary, too.
It left a crowd of onlookers and visitors in disbelief. Grace Brown and her friend often go hiking in the St. Charles County Park.
I'm really sorry. It's really, really sad the way it turned out, especially since he was so young, and for the friend, for just everybody who knew him.
Officials say for 19 years, Klondike Park has been a popular place for hiking, mountain biking, and walking. The park has 10 trails. Police tell us the victim was out here in a restricted area, lost his footing, and fell. He died at the scene. You can see signs are posted out here reminding people about the dangers of hiking in restricted areas.
When you're planning a hike, it's good to always have a plan.
St. Charles County Parks Director Ryan Graham says hikers who trek here also need to remember to wear proper shoes, stay hydrated, and keep their cell phones charged in case of an emergency.
Observe posted signage, stay out of restricted areas, keep a mind of the weather, have a plan, let people know where you're going. It's a tragic accident that we had today, and our hearts and prayers go out to his family.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Teens fell from cliffs at Klondike Park in 2 separate incidents in 2008 and 2016. Both of them survived. The man suspected of hitting and killing a CBC high school student near Ted Drew's is out of jail tonight. Prosecutors say they don't have enough evidence right now to keep the 25-year-old man in custody. A police source tells us the suspect turned himself in yesterday, just days after they released surveillance images of the truck they were looking for.
Tonight, the Major K Squad says the driver who flipped his car on Interstate 170 was wanted in connection to a recent homicide. That crash happened near the Ladue exit this afternoon. The driver was not hurt. Investigators are not saying whether officers were chasing the suspect. They do say the driver is a person of interest in a homicide in Normandy. An 18-year-old was found shot to death outside a shopping center Sunday night. In just 3 months, Missouri voters will get to decide whether recreational marijuana should be legal. It comes after the state confirmed today pro-pot groups gathered enough signatures to put the issue on the ballot. Brett Solomon is live in St. Louis now with a closer look. Brent?
Well, Mike, those fighting to get marijuana legalized in Missouri say their fight doesn't stop here. Now that the measure is headed to the ballot box, their work to spread awareness is just beginning. And so is the work of those who don't want to see it happen.
On the day the state announced Missourians will decide whether to legalize pot, we went to see what many of you are thinking.
I think Missouri should do it, and Illinois just passed it.
And I don't like it. I don't think it should be on the ballot.
Soon, you'll get to weigh in at the ballot box. It comes after marijuana advocates turned over 400,000 signatures back in May in support of legalizing recreational marijuana.
There's tremendous benefits in terms of the tax revenue that would be created.
Alan Zager worked on the campaign to get to this point. If voters pass the measure, it's expected to bring in $40 million a year. It would also wipe clean the records of those with previous minor marijuana offenses.
We're talking about people who may still be on probation or parole, or even had a conviction and did their time and paid their fine, but yet it still comes up and is a hindrance in housing or employment.
I don't believe that is something that should cause someone to go to jail and pay a sentence.
While some voters are already on board,
People these days either, they drink or smoke. And I don't see much difference in that, in legalizing it.
Others aren't sold.
More people do not need to be numb and out of it. Like, we're trying to get people to be more with it, not out of it, right? It's like we already got enough to deal with.
All right, now other states have expunged minor drug offenses after legalizing marijuana, but that was done through the work of lawmakers. Alan Zager, who you just heard from, says if this measure passes here, Missouri would be the first state to take that action via voters. We're live in St. Louis tonight. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, Bridgeton police are searching for the people who set fires at 2 city parks. The first was reported around 2 o'clock yesterday at Matthews Park. Firefighters found the restroom fully engulfed in flames. About 2 hours later, firefighters were called to Hellbush Park, which is less than 2 miles away. Someone had intentionally set a gazebo on fire. Both structures sustained extensive damage.
Families directly impacted by historic flooding can continue to get the help they need this week. Today, the Friendly Temple Church in North St. Louis hosted a resource center. The one-stop shop has cleanup supplies, food, and information on next steps. It's already served more than 4,000 people.
And I think most of the folks here are just looking for information. Where do we go next? What's going to happen next? What's the process? What's going to happen, especially now that the president has signed a declaration of emergency. So I think most of the folks are looking for information, and so they're getting a lot of that information here at the Mark.
The Resource Center is open tomorrow and Thursday from 9 a.m. until 5. Anyone who needs transportation can call 211. And for more information on this and other resources for flooding victims, all you have to do is text the word HELP to 314-425-5355. University City was one of the hardest hit areas by flash flooding in the county.
Many families are still displaced, and they're trying to get ready for the start of the school year. Our Pepper Baker is live outside Pershing Elementary with a look at how the U-City District is trying to help those families, help those students, Pepper.
Yeah, and Mike, just 2 weeks ago, University City residents took shelter here at Pershing Elementary School from those devastating floodwaters. And the school district continues to help those families who are dealing with the damage and now have to prepare to head back to school.
It's a nightmare.
Valerie Fondren sums up how the last couple of weeks have been since her house flooded.
I looked out and I see the rain coming. I'm like, I don't know. So I got up and looked down the steps, and everything that we had in the basement was floating towards the steps.
Her teenage son, Christian Tucker, lost a lot of clothes and shoes, and his first day back at University City High School is less than 2 weeks away.
The school came by and dropped off a backpack with a few items in it, but as far as clothes and other things, no, I haven't got a chance to do any of that.
School starts in a week. We have about 8 days.
Superintendent Sharonica Hardin-Bartley has been helping University City families since the morning of the flood.
So we assisted with physically transporting them from the police station to Pershing Elementary School, bought in just food items, basic care needs, so that their immediate needs could be met.
About 70 people sheltered at the school during the flood, and many of their families are still displaced.
Many of them who don't even know where they're going to live when school starts. So we're working with them to make sure that we can get their children to school.
They've collected and distributed donations, everything from food, clothes, and shoes to hygiene products and school supplies.
If you are a University City family, this is your home, and we take care of our family. So please reach out to the district, and we will do whatever we need to do to make sure that your children are ready to start school on August 22nd.
School leaders are still accepting monetary donations for those families, and if you'd like to help, you can find that information on KSDK.com. Live in University City, Pepper Baker, 5 on your side.
Big changes for the St. Louis Public School District. After 14 years, Superintendent Dr. Kelvin Adams announced he is retiring in December.
In the world of superintendents, these are dog years. Every year is like 3.
In that time, Dr. Adams helped the district get its accreditation back. When he took over, the district had $66 million in debt. Now it has $150 million in surplus. Schools now have resources to support students with issues beyond the classroom. That includes an after-school program, and it provides parents with more time to work.
That's a big switch that gives us the opportunity to provide those resources that families need, because this is a struggling city and there are a lot of needs. You cover the news on a regular basis, and every weekend somebody's getting shot, somebody's getting killed.
Dr. Adams says the district will provide kids K through 12 with book bags, school supplies, and laptops. In his retirement, he plans to continue to support the district and its students.
Tonight, the final beam is now in place atop Washington University's new Neuroscience Research Building in the Central West End. It was signed by leaders at the School of Medicine. The $16 million facility is one of the largest neuroscience research buildings in the country. It will house more than 100 research teams who will study Alzheimer's disease, brain tumors, spinal cord injuries, and more. The facility is expected to be completed in August of next year. A pileup of stolen cars.
Hyundais and Kias, we get at least 3 cars a day.
Now victims headed to court. Tonight, the I-Team uncovers the message the automakers have for consumers. Dividing doses. The new plan to get more Americans vaccinated against monkeypox.
These are supposedly the dog days of summer, but the changes happening over the next few days may seem quite refreshing. We're already looking towards the weekend.
The manhunt is over tonight for the man wanted for the murders of 4 Muslim men in New Mexico. Albuquerque police have charged Mohammed Syed of Afghanistan with 2 of the recent murders. He's considered a suspect in the other 2 cases. Investigators say the victims were likely targeted, but they've not said if the killings classify as a hate crime.
A Mississippi grand jury will not indict the 87-year-old woman whose accusation led to the lynching of 14-year-old Emmett Till nearly 70 years ago. Back in 1955, Carolyn Bryant Donham accused Till of whistling at her. The black teen was found dead after he was abducted by her husband and brother-in-law. They were acquitted on murder charges, and she was never taken into custody.
New tonight, shocking numbers about car thefts in the city of St. Louis, and we're talking about 2 specific types of cars, Kias and Hyundais.
St. Louis police tell our I-Team in 6 months between January and June of this year, more than 600 of these particular cars were stolen. Now, here's where the numbers will leave you stunned. That same number of cars were stolen in the month of July alone. 5 on Your Side's Christine Byers found new court documents that shed some light on the automaker's response to customers.
At Terry's Tow Lot in Maplewood, stolen Hyundais and Kias keep piling up.
Hyundais and Kias, we get at least 3 cars a day. All are the exact same. The ignition is busted, cars gone through, rampaged, all the same. Every single one of them.
This one still had the thief's tool of choice, a USB cord, hanging from its ignition.
And I feel bad for all the other people who have to go through this.
The issue hits close to home for Grace Romines. In May, her 2015 Kia Optima got stolen.
It was destroyed, to say the least.
The problem got so bad in Milwaukee that victims like Grace filed a class action lawsuit. They say Hyundai and Kia haven't done enough to warn consumers about the vulnerable ignitions and didn't install immobilizing technology that's been around since the 90s. Attorneys for the automakers say that vehicle theft is a consumer's risk. Their ignition systems are not covered by warranty because they're not defective, and that car owners could have purchased upgraded security measures. In statements, however, the automakers told the I-Team immobilizers are now standard on all new vehicles. For victims like Grace, it's too little too late.
It honestly hurts my heart a little bit. I worked really hard to get that car.
For the I-Team, Christine Byers, 5 on Your Side.
We learned this week that class action lawsuits have also been filed by Hyundai and Kia owners in 6 states, including Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, Kansas, Texas, and Kentucky. Those lawsuits were filed within the past 3 weeks. For now, police recommend anyone with a Hyundai built between 2015 and 2021 or a Kia built between 2011 and 2021 buy a highly visible steering wheel lock.
A new push tonight to get more people vaccinated against monkeypox. With the current supply limited, the FDA has given emergency use authorization to divide the doses up. People will still get the 2-dose regimen, but instead of injecting the vaccine under the skin, it will be given under the top layer of skin only. The lower dosage delivery will stimulate an immune response because the skin has more immune cells than that of the fatty tissue. Tonight, there are nearly 9,000 reported cases of monkeypox in the U.S., but according to the CDC, only 15 are in Missouri.
The risk to the public is low at this time, and that's because this virus is harder to spread from person to person. The most likely transmission from person to person is based on close physical skin-to-skin contact. This isn't something that's going to be spread by being in the grocery store or walking by someone that has monkeypox.
The vaccine is only available to high-risk individuals. That's about 1.6 million Americans. Right now, there's only enough vaccine to cover 10% of the population.
For the first time in 4 months, the national average for a gallon of gas has fallen below $4 a gallon. That's according to Gas Buddy. Missouri drivers have been enjoying gas below $4 for a couple of weeks now. Drivers from the Metro East are still paying around $4.20 a gallon. Gas Buddy says drivers are spending $400 million less on gas every day than they were just a month ago. We made it easier for you to find the lowest gas prices. Just text the word gas to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you the latest prices in your neighborhood. Well, a blast from the past is in the forecast for tomorrow. Former Chief Meteorologist Cindy Pressler is returning to 5 on Your Side for one day only. She's going to help Scott deliver the forecast during tomorrow's 5 and 6 p.m. newscasts. Cindy is back in town for our 75th anniversary event, Local News, Lasting Impact.
She's one of the many former and current 5 on Your Side employees who will be on hand Thursday night at the Missouri History Museum. There will be a cocktail hour and panel discussion. We have more information at ksk.com/museum. And let's get to our Chief Meteorologist, Scott Connell. I wonder if Cindy will do one of her famous Lake of the Ozarks weekend forecasts.
I don't know, but we probably can arrange that. You know, we were talking this
thanks,
afternoon.
more work.
Yeah, well, no, it's all good because this weekend is actually looking really nice. Now, probably be a little warmer over western portions of Missouri towards the lake, but wasn't it nice to see the sunset this afternoon around St. Louis? Got rid of the clouds. The rain last night for most of us wasn't too bad. We had 1 inch to 2 inches, mainly north of St. Louis. And then during the course of the day today, we had some heavier rain down to the south. So most of the flood-ravaged areas missed out on the heaviest rain. That was what we were really concerned about yesterday during the day. It was becoming apparent by this time last night that maybe we weren't going to see as much. And then you had some of those amounts between 3 and 5 inches down towards Potosi and down towards Irondale. You still had that front kind of stalled out here across the Missouri-Arkansas border. We still have some clouds, especially down to the south, but as skies have tried to clear around St. Louis and our temperatures settling back into the 70s, we may actually see some patches of fog developing here through the overnight hours, especially in the areas just north and northwest of St. Louis that saw some of that heavier rainfall. Only 9/10 of an inch officially at Lambert. 74 right now. Our high today with the clouds sticking around for much of the day, only 81 degrees. Wasn't that a change from yesterday's 97 ahead of the showers and storms? That's a nice change, right? So temperatures tonight drop back into the lower 60s far to the north, closer to 70 as you go south of St. Louis. And again, we'll watch for a little bit of patchy fog early tomorrow morning, but we don't expect a huge amount of it around the metro area. Don't think it's going to be enough to impact travel. And certainly tomorrow afternoon, skies will trend towards clearing out. Even areas south of St. Louis that are still stuck in the cloud cover, you should break out into more sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Pretty comfortable. Heading into this weekend, the big heat dome is stuck out to our west. We're in that northwest flow aloft. So as we head into Saturday, we actually look at the weather map and high pressures over the Great Lakes. Our air is actually coming out of Ontario around the Great Lakes and through the Ohio Valley. Incredibly dry Canadian air, and that means some of the cooler mornings that we've seen in a while are headed towards the St. Louis area. So maybe you're trying to get a camping trip in this weekend before the kids head back to school, or maybe a float trip on Saturday. We'll probably have outlying areas down into the 50s early Saturday morning and back into the 80s Saturday afternoon. Bright skies, nice conditions, mainly dry on Sunday. We will add a little extra cloud cover into the mix, and it will be warmer well into the 80s on Sunday. So breaking it down over the next 10 days, you got to admit, for August, this is not a bad forecast. Temperatures are tolerable, they're reasonable. You get a couple of hot days along about Sunday and Monday, but the humidity the next few days dropping way off.
It's nothing like what we had a few weeks ago.
Exactly.
It looks really nice. All right, Scott, thanks. Sports and Frank next.
Mike, kind of a weird night in sports. Miles Michaelis shelled, Ryan O'Reilly will play golf with Lee Trevino, and a baseball pitcher who sings on the mound. We will sort it all out very shortly.
If you have a tip for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, call us at 314-444-5231 or email 5onyourside@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
So there's a guy out there, and it wasn't me, although I felt the Cardinals were going to win. But there's a guy who bet $264 grand on the Birds to beat the Rockies. He's the only person in the world feeling worse than Miles Mikolas tonight. First inning, C.J. Cron takes Miles deep, very deep, 450 feet, 3-0 Colorado. I would say Cron had Miles' number. In the third, he doubled in 2 more. Mikolas went 2 2/3 innings, gave up 10 runs. He's the first pitcher in the modern era to give up 14-plus hits and not get at least 10 outs. Hey, remember Randall Grichuk? He takes Packy Naughton deep, a 3-run bomb. The Rockies were up 12-0. The only cool thing was Paul DeJong went deep again, 448 feet, 7 hits since returning, 7 extra base hits. Rockies are leading 14-5 in the 7th. Cardinals needed some help from Tampa tonight in Milwaukee. They didn't get it. Check out this wild robbery from Tyrone Taylor. Brewers win it 5-3. So this man behind me is the pride of Lafayette High School. And last year at Mineral Area Junior College, Gavin Oswald went 8-0 as a pitcher. But his summer is far more interesting. He danced and pitched for this wildly popular baseball team called the Savannah Bananas. They've sold out over 200 consecutive games because they entertain with wonderful dance routines. They play well too, but it's about having fun. And how about this mindset on the mound?
For me, growing up, whenever I get stressed, I don't try to throw the ball harder. I sing to myself on the mound. And it sounds absolutely insane, but it just works for me. So for the Savannah Bananas, as soon as you throw the pitch and as soon as that ball hits the catcher's mitt, it is music until you lift your leg for the next pitch. So for me, that relaxes me. That was a good fit for me.
And Brady Cook is a good not. Good things happen, by the way, when you appear on Sports Plus. All right, so the Ascension Charity Classic broke attendance records last year. And part of the reason was the Legends match. And today they announced that Ryan O'Reilly will play this year. He will join Lee Trevino, Nancy Lopez, Hale Irwin, Craig Berube, and Ozzie Smith. How's that for star power? David Toms is back to defend the title he won last year when he beat Dickie Pride in a playoff. Today he was back at Norwood Hills to talk about the tournament. Now he won't be playing in the Legends Challenge, but wow, what an event it will be.
You know, last year was hard to get better than Nicklaus and Watson, but somehow we've made this bigger and better. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have up to 10,000 people following that group alone, which, to put it in perspective, that's a good Champions Tour Friday or Saturday, having that many people. To do it for one hole is extraordinary. And I mean, we're already super excited about it.
The PGA Tour is not excited about this. British Open champion Cameron Smith is reportedly joining the LIV Tour for $100 million. This is the second-ranked player in the world in the prime of his career at age 28. The most famous Aussie of them all, Greg Norman, who runs the LIV Tour, recruited the best Australian player on the planet. And that will do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks.
A true Halloween scare. You've heard reports of a candy shortage. The reason candy lovers may have nothing to fear. Snapchat has rolled out a new tool for parents. Family Center allows mom and dad to see who their kids are talking to without sharing their private messages. Parents must have their own account, and their children must give them access to this feature.
The six-pack is getting a makeover. Coca-Cola has unveiled a new cardboard packaging system to replace those plastic ring holders. The new sustainable packaging will roll out first in the Northeast.
Hershey's is now telling people to not be scared by reports of a Halloween candy shortage. Phew! Last week, the chocolate company said ongoing supply chain issues would make it hard to keep up with demand for the holidays. Now Hershey's says it has more seasonal product available than last year. So good news for my one office desk drawer that's just full of candy.
Yeah, now when you buy candy for Halloween, we're still a couple months off. Do you buy a bag for yourself and a bag for the kids, or how does that work?
A huge bag, and I hide it under the laundry room sink from my husband. And
so it's just for you.
Now he knows.
No, he's not watching. You don't have to worry. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
His guests tonight, Kate McKinnon and Lily Reinhart. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.